on Command Facebook Live this morning. I'm Leah Mattinson and joined as usual by my wonderful co-host, Howard Rankin, PhD. Morning, Howard. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to be live today, talking with you and taking your questions if you have any. We're talking today about how is your environment training you and conditioning you to stay overweight, obese, exhausted, and stuck. And as we talk about these things today, I was laughing before we got on and saying, wow, it's like, I really can't believe that I didn't understand the difference between obese and overweight. Because when I was 100 plus pounds overweight, I thought I was obese. And I thought that 100 pounds was kind of the benchmark for that. Like once you got 100 pounds, then you're obese. So, and that was till really recently, I thought that was actually the number, but it really isn't the number. So part of what I want to think we should talk about today is, okay, like what the environmental piece, but really what is it, the difference between being obese and being overweight? So let's dive into environment first of all, Howard.
Well, there's so many things in the environment that influence all our behavior, but specifically eating behavior, because it's targeted in the media through advertising, and also it's something that we have to do, at least a couple of times a day, so we actually see other people doing that too. And I think people underestimate the power of what's called social proof, which is what you see other people doing and how they're acting and how they're being. We do take a lot of our cues from that. A simple example I would give was, you're driving down the freeway, you're going, 75, and then, 6 cars pass you going 90. What do? You probably speed up.
Yes.
Okay? Right? Of course you do. You speed up. Again, the influence of other people's actions and what we interpret their actions to be and what we see other people doing influences us a lot. It's part of how we identify with people. So there's an upside and a downside. It depends on, the people around you. So if the people around you are not eating very well, have poor health habits, that's going to impact you. It's going to impact you. Yeah. So that's people. Obviously, there's lots of other influences. What you're watching on TV, the advertisements you're exposed to on radio, TV, social media. You may not think they're influencing you, but they may very well be. As well as environmental cues, like what you're looking at as you look out the window, work environment. If you live above a restaurant and you're smelling all the cooking smells and watching people come and go from a restaurant, holding their carry-out bags and eating, that's going to be a much different environment than you're living in the country and you're not seeing any of that. So there's so many influences that are underestimated that impact really all our behavior, but especially eating.
Yeah, and it's incredible the amount of, I was just sharing a stat yesterday with some of our Health on Command participants, and I'm going to share it with the crowd today because I think it's really important for people to realize just the magnitude, the sheer number of people that are dealing with very serious like overweight, obesity issues in North America. So just to give you some numbers, when we're talking about environment and impact, is if you walk outside and what you see is a bunch of people who are fit and in good shape, that's actually what you default to, which is sort of your example about the cars passing each other on the road. I lived in the Okanagan in British Columbia in Canada for a number of years. And that's what you would look out the window and go, oh, hey, everyone's out riding their bikes, better join the pod, better go for a run, better go for a walk, better cycle down to the store to get my groceries. Then when I moved back to Alberta, the environment is much different here. And so that's not necessarily the behavior in the places that I was living. So it was a very conscious effort to keep up some of those behaviors as much as I possibly could, because the rest of the pack was not doing those things. So it's been a big challenge, even for me, with many years of doing this, healthy lifestyle stuff. It's been a challenge. So I'm going to share this stat because I think it's quite incredible. So there's 325 million American citizens, so people in the US. 70% are overweight. So that number is 227 million people that are overweight. 227 million people. And of that, 38% are morbidly obese. So that is 68,100,000 people that are morbidly obese. And then, people go, oh, I'm okay with the weight that I am. I'm okay with the way that I am. All my friends are like this. All my family is like this. I'm just big boned. It must be my genetics, da 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 da. Yet the stat is actually 86% are trying to lose weight. 86% of people who put their hand up and say, I'm okay with this, are actually internally not okay and reporting that they're not okay. So they're trying to lose weight. That number is 195,220,000 people. Like, it's such an astronomical number of people that it's no wonder that when you look out your window and you see and are surrounded by an environment of people that are in the same boat of being overweight, that you kind of sort of accept that that's normal, that it's normal. Yet we can see statistically that people know it's not because they're reporting and crying out for help. So part of the dilemma that we have when we're doing these Facebook Lives is, all right, like we've got to be nice. We don't want to offend anybody. We want to come from the heart. We want people to know, we're coming from a position really of love and care and concern and really genuine compassion, which is 86% of people really don't want to be fat. They don't. Most people do not wake up in the morning and go, gee, I'm so happy that I'm in this body that feels terrible, that feels awful, that I'm not moving in it. And so I wanted to also differentiate, Howard, really, we talked about this on another live, the difference between being overweight and being obese. So can you just chat with folks? Because they might not even know
Right.
where we are on that.
We use the BMI measurement as the standard for the criteria for overweight. And if you look at the BMI points, BMI point, one BMI point, it really depends how tall you are, et cetera, et cetera. But a BMI point is typically around 6 pounds. Okay? That's what it is, about 6 pounds for the typical person. So, there's the overweight is sort of 5 BMI points under 30. So that's 30 pounds, let's say 30 to 35 pounds. And then you cross over into the obese category, right? So if you're 35, 40 pounds overweight, you are right in that obese category. And then we go up some more. I think I'm remembering this correctly. You go up, severely obese is another 40 pounds. And then morbidly obese would be about another 40 pounds. So that would be about 110, 120 pounds overweight at the worst. But you only have to be 35, 40 pounds overweight to be in the obese category.
Yeah, which is it's dangerous. So it's so far beyond, like when I lost my weight, I really it was like looking at my kids and going, oh my God, I don't want to be the mom where they get embarrassed that I'm their mom, that they don't invite me to do stuff, that they get bullied because I'm so overweight, da 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 da. And I knew that I was going to attract the same unattractive partner in my life and opportunities that I didn't really want in that body. And like many people who are overweight, it's like I would identify and say, there's a skinny woman screaming to get out of this fat. There is, she's in there. And so part of the, the health problems that people have, I lost my weight when I was 30 and I was starting to have some health consequence at that point. So the health problems really associated with this, though, are significant. And so when you get to be carrying that weight around, until you're another decade or 2 decades, so, you're 40, 50 years old, and then, you're getting into your 55, 60 years old, your body really does start to break down. And it can be sudden incidents when you're 30. I've got relatives that have had heart attacks strokes. I've got friends who've got early onset chronic diseases that they shouldn't have had, really. And that are directly weight related. And so I want to just talk about this because families are so heavily impacted. People themselves are so heavily impacted by these health things. It takes you out of the game of having a really joyful, playful life because your focus is 100% on being sick and dealing with the symptoms of the overweight. So let's talk about that a little bit, like, because we're talking about exhaustion, we're talking about being stuck in, looping patterns of behavior. What's the consequence of that?
Yeah, and again, we should absolutely make clear this isn't really about criticizing
No.
people who are overweight at all. Comes from a position of caring and concern.
Mhm.
The evidence is quite clear. If you're overweight, and the more overweight you are, the greater risk you have of a number of major conditions:
Mhm.
diabetes,
Mhm.
cardiovascular disease, stroke. Some cancers are related to being overweight, particularly those that relate to women, breast cancer, uterine cancer, and others too, um, and dementia also.
Mhm.
So this isn't about you know, this isn't about people's choices and what they want to be and who they want to be. It's just pointing out the fact that increased weight does go along with increased health, disease, mortality risk. And
Mhm.
of course, it's inhibiting. The more overweight you are, the fewer things you can do that are healthy for you.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean you can't do them, but it becomes increasingly more difficult. And so you're on a spiral, really, into uh, more unhealthy behaviors and things that aren't as rewarding as they might.
Right. And you need to unlock yourself. So I think you say that it's like it's not about criticism. Absolutely not. I mean, I'm an intelligent woman. Very intelligent. I had a great career. I have a great career. I had a great career then. I was still happy and bubbly and fun and all that. And I loathed my body. I did not want to be in that body. And so this is not, it's like a hall pass as opposed to a criticism. This is a hall pass to say, yeah, I totally get it. I get where you're at. It doesn't actually matter what number you bring of overweight that you are on the phone. It doesn't matter. We can help you to navigate around and get your health back. The reason we're talking about it with such gravity is because people have been snowed into thinking that they can figure out some other way of getting well. Often going to the doctor for medication, then multiple medications. I myself got prescribed Ionomin when I was about 17 or 18 years old, which is like speed, right? So it's like not sure how much neurological damage that did when I was taking it, but I know that the stacking consequence is my parents thought I was doing street drugs. So I ended up having to go. It's not funny. We had to go as a family and see a shrink because they thought I was doing drugs. I wasn't doing any drugs. I was on prescribed Ionomin from my GP, my well-intentioned GP, not saying he was an evil villain going, whoa, we're going to try to figure out a way to make your life miserable. That's not at all. I love that doc. He was our family doc for many, many years. But the consequence was seriously that my parents thought I was doing street drugs. I was not. I was taking this Ionomin. I would go for a run in the morning and I would come back from my run, eat a little bit of breakfast, go for a run again before the bus came, come back, go to basketball practice, go do all my classes, go for a run at noon, come back on the bus, come back to all my chores, go for another run. It's like I could not stop running. And so like your brain function isn't proper. And so there's people who are professionals, educated, working in healthcare, who are morbidly obese, who are struggling with way more than 30 pounds, who have not now also got sleep apnea, which leads and adds more stress and pressure to the whole weight loss and your ability to manage weight. Your inability to move affects your metabolism, which is what causes you to be able to actually digest food. So there's so many factors in your environment that create your wellness or that take away from it. And a lot of them, and again, the reason for bringing it up or being serious about it is because Some of these people are people who are your friends. Like you've got kids, you're looking at your children going, boy, I want them to have a healthy life. I don't want to recreate this as a legacy. You're looking at, the profession that you've chosen. You go, you know what? I don't feel that good. I don't feel like I can actually do my job to my full capacity because my weight is getting in the way, and the amount of pain that I have in my joints is really getting in the way of me providing genuine care to people.
I think the other thing is that after a while, people don't actually pay attention to that or notice that unless something drastic happens to them. It just becomes a sort of new normal. That's how they think about it, and these environmental influences become sort of internal influences. And there's a great quote used in one of my books. Um, it's hard to fight an enemy who has outposts in your head. And so many of these environmental influences put outposts in your head that, oh, this is the norm, this is okay, you can, and even if you tried, you couldn't, and, all of those sorts of things.
It's normal to be exhausted. That's a storyline in North America. And not only that, you get patted on the back if you're exhausted, because if you're exhausted, you must be a hard worker.
Right.
Yeah, so that's one. And then I think the other thing of the yo-yo dieting, or stuck in certain behaviors or certain patterns of behaviors, is also an accepted thing, because we see, people who are in leadership in the healthcare industry or in politics or in, the support group industry that are unwell and that haven't actually figured out how to really transform their health problem and to become well. So you're looking at the leadership and going, well, if they haven't got it figured out, then I must be totally okay. Even though when you wake up in the morning, you feel like crap. So I guess I'm encouraging people to do is to really think about what it is that you want to wake up feeling like every day. What is it that you want? Try to unplug from the environmental factors. And the other thing people need to know is you default to your environment. You can try as hard as you want to do whatever it is, but you will default to your environment. So your environment is hugely important. It's massively important. It's so under educated about how important your environment really is that people miss it. Because they think, oh, well, if I just do this little thing and I just do this little thing, then I'll figure it out. And then they end up sucked right back in to whatever it is that they've been doing, because they haven't changed anything.
Right. And because one of the core components of our program is teaching people to regain control over those influences. As you said, it's the default setting. Most people don't think about it. They don't think, how could I get control? And maybe they don't even realize they don't have it. But that is important, and there are certain skills that you can develop, but it can't be the default setting.
And they can be developed on your own in an environment that is still the same environment, because you default to your environment. And even if you move to somewhere else, you go, okay, well, I'm going to get out of my neighborhood, or I'm going to move out of my parents' home, or I'm going to not hang out with those girls that do that stuff that I don't want to do, or the guys that do that stuff I don't want to do. Your internal environment is still pretty hardwired. So and joining a support group, again, where the leadership actually hasn't got it figured out around their health and wellness, you are going to get the same result. So if you actually want to transform your health and you want to take back your health and wellness, you need world-class support. You need people who have actually transformed their health situation or transformed their emotional, physical, et cetera, health situation, so that the transformation has been permanent and long-term. Because that's what you're looking for, aren't you? Like, most people don't go, God, I hope I get back on that treadmill again of gaining weight and losing weight, because I just freaking love that. Like, nobody does. Everyone goes, I'm going to beat this thing. I'm going to get this thing, da, da, da. But in order to do that, you really need to be conscious about what environment is it that you want to hang out in, and so that you can achieve the result that you really want. So we do that at Health on Command. We do that in our really excellent world-class online program. So anyone from all over the world can attend and participate if you're interested in finding out more about what we do, and really interested more so about what it is that you want to achieve in your life. That's actually what we talk about. We're very interested in you. We're really interested in what's going on right now in your health. Where are you at? Where are the things that you are happy with, and where are the things that you are going, I don't like that anymore. I don't want to have to continue to experience that. Then we talk about, can we help you? Can we not help you? And if we think we can help you, then we'll offer, yeah, we can help. If we think that we can't help you, then we say, we can't. Next, and help you to move along, at least down the path of finding somebody who can. So we really appreciate that people have tuned in. You know, on our Master Your Life radio show, I was just reminiscing with Howard. We've been on radio now for about 3 years. And we have a really great radio show on UK Health Radio called Master Your Life. And on that radio show, we have 40,000 plus dedicated listeners that come every single week to just take in sort of what we're thinking about or musing about in terms of their health and wellness. I have such a deep appreciation for that because people want to know how to be well. They do. They want to know. So we know that when people are watching these replays, when they're watching the replays on live, that you're looking for something. You're looking for a path out of whatever hell you're in your health and wellness. That's the only reason that anyone would ever watch us, even though we're fabulous people. No one's going to watch it for 20 minutes or a half an hour unless they actually have something they're trying to resolve. So I just want you to know we really acknowledge that. I love that you're here. Understand that I was once you. We're once you, sitting in the same boat you're sitting in more than one area of life. So not just being overweight or obese, there's other things that are causing you pain. So please take the time to love yourself enough to get on a call with me and let's talk about what's going on in your health and how we can help you to transform that old health story into a new one of vibrant wellness and getting the body that you really want and looking and feeling exactly how you want to in that body that you've already got.
Great. Okay, so till next time.
Till next time, have a great rest of your day and we'll talk to you soon.